You know, we see them pretty much every day, but we don't really see them, do we? Today, we're going to look past that tiny insect on the sidewalk and dive into the super science of the ant. And trust me, what they're capable of is so extraordinary, you are never going to look at them the same way again.
Right. We all think we know what an ant is. It's just a tiny bug on a mission. Well, get ready to have that idea completely shattered. The life of an ant is this hidden universe of complex communication, incredible navigation, and architectural genius that honestly rivals our own. So let's start with something we've all seen, that perfect single-file line of ants on the move. It looks like a simple game of follow the leader, but what's really going on is a sophisticated, invisible communication system at work.
I mean, have you ever actually stopped to wonder how they do it? How does one single ant tell hundreds of others the exact route to that crumb you dropped 5 minutes ago? The answer isn't sight. It's something way, way more elegant.
The secret is a chemical language, and it's called pheromones. When a scout ant finds food, it lays down this scent trail all the way back to the nest. It's literally an invisible highway that the other ants follow perfectly with their antennae. But here's the really clever part. Every ant that successfully follows that trail adds its own pheromones on the way back, which makes the road even stronger, basically shouting to the rest of the colony, "Hey, this way to the good stuff!"
Okay, so the colony has its highway system. That's amazing. But what about a single ant? What happens if it gets knocked off that trail? Well, it turns out each ant has its own incredible set of built-in navigation tools.
You know, if an ant gets blown off course or the trail gets wiped away, it's not just hopelessly lost. It doesn't wander around randomly. Nope, it has backup systems that are almost unbelievable.
So here are two of their secret tools. First, and you might not believe this, ants have an internal pedometer. They literally count their steps to measure how far they've gone. But for ants that forage at night, it gets even cooler. They can navigate using the patterns in polarized moonlight, a compass that works with light that's 1,000,000 times dimmer than the sun's.
And how do we know for sure that they count their steps? Well, in one of the most brilliant and kind of bizarre experiments ever, scientists took some ants that had walked to a food source, and for the trip home, they fitted them with tiny custom-made stilts. No joke. And what happened? The ants took the exact same number of steps to get back, but because their stride was longer, they completely overshot the nest. Absolutely incredible, right?
So, we've got these incredible individual navigators, but their true power, their real genius, is unlocked when they act together. And I'm not just talking about simple teamwork here. We're talking about something much, much deeper. Scientists call an ant colony a eusocial superorganism. Now that's a fancy way of saying the colony acts less like a group of individuals and more like a single living body. The individual ants are like cells, each with a specific job, all working to serve one cohesive, intelligent being, the colony itself.
So, how does this superorganism think? It does it by combining two different types of information. On one hand, you've got private information. That's an individual ant's own memory of where it thinks food might be. And that gets combined with social information, those pheromone trails left by the whole group.
And this is where it all comes together. By merging what one ant knows with what the whole group knows, the colony makes decisions that are far smarter than any single ant ever could. It's what's called composite collective decision-making, which is basically a hive mind that lets them find the best food with incredible speed and coordination.
Now, this collective intelligence doesn't just apply to finding food. It's the exact same principle that allows them to build their homes, these vast, complex underground cities, all created with an innate understanding of physics and engineering.
What you're looking at here is a metal casting of an ant nest. The tiny little mound we see on the surface is hiding this, a sprawling underground city that can go 25 feet deep and house millions of individuals. And these are not just random tunnels, they are genuine architectural marvels.
So how do they do it? How do they build structures that can last for decades without collapsing? It's not because they have little blueprints or an ant foreman. They do it by instinctively, almost magically, following the fundamental laws of physics.
Researchers have a great analogy for this. It's like they're playing Jenga, but in reverse. Ants can somehow sense the force chains in the soil. You can think of these as the hidden skeleton of the dirt, the lines of grains that are carrying all the weight. They instinctively dig around this skeleton, removing only the loose, useless bits. This ensures the whole structure stays perfectly stable.
Okay, check this out. These simulations show their genius in action. On the left,
You see how a single tunnel creates a nice, stable arch of force around it. But look at the image on the right. When they dig a second tunnel above the first one, it does something totally counterintuitive. It redirects the stress and makes the lower tunnel even stronger. It's a brilliant engineering trick they've mastered through millions of years of evolution.
Now, uncovering all these secrets isn't just about satisfying our curiosity. What ants have perfected over millions of years holds some pretty incredible lessons that could seriously shape our own future technology.
I mean, we've learned from nature before, right? The simple burr that gets stuck to your clothes, that directly inspired the invention of Velcro. Well, ants offer inspiration on a much, much grander scale, especially when it comes to things like engineering and robotics.
Okay, get ready for a truly staggering fact. To excavate the same amount of soil, ants use less than 0.1% of the energy that our most advanced, powerful tunnel boring machines do. They are absolute masters of efficiency, and we clearly have a lot to learn.
So the path forward here is actually pretty clear. First, we have to really understand the behavioral algorithms that drive their digging. Step 2, we create AI that can mimic this amazing collective intelligence. And the end goal? Imagine fleets of small, autonomous robots that can dig tunnels for mining, build underground structures, or even explore other planets with just unbelievable efficiency.
So, from chemical highways and navigating by moonlight to superorganism intelligence and instinctual engineering, the humble ant is a true titan of the natural world. It really makes you wonder, what other incredible secrets are just waiting to be unearthed right under our noses?